Hello, hello. Wow, hello. Should get myself some drink. How are you guys? Today the fourth, excuse me, fourth game. Fourth game live stream. Ding against Gukesh, 1.5 against 1.5. Today we have a new addition to the stream. I'm gonna get some drink, by the way. My voice is a bit. Yeah. That's the thing. In the morning you don't speak, and then you think everything is good, and you start speaking. You're like, oh my god, what's happening? I'm gonna get some drink. But I have a new addition today in the stream. I have a new evil bar. Look. I'm gonna mess with you with the evil bar. I'm gonna do whatever I want. It's not my evil bar. Cool, huh? Cool. Okay, guys, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna get some drink. Okay. Oh, what was the background? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, which Nihal's are in game? Good question. Let me check how Nihal's doing. Nihal's about to win his open tournament. Let's see if he doesn't blink in the end. Abrusatorov was coming for him, but he was resisting. Ooh! He's Gucci. He looks completely drawn to me. Let's see. It's good for Nihal. Looks dead draw, yeah? Yeah, he's completely fine. Yeah, dead draw. Okay, Nihal about to win. Very nice for Nihal. Congratulations. Congratulations. And today was under pressure, but defends very well. Yeah, that's good for Nihal. Okay, let's talk a bit about the World Championship or not. Finally a calm stream. Yeah, well, I wasn't there at all. Yeah, you see guys, it's quite epic. I have an eval bar. I don't see it here on my screen, but you guys see it. New eval bar, very nice. Okay, so the problem is whenever Ding gets the white pieces, we are never guaranteed of a spectacular game, because Clearly Gukesh's plan to be solid with black, even more so now than two rounds ago. Gukesh just equalized the score. He has many white games ahead. Gukesh's strategy very clear, very solid with black, very ambitious, aggressive with white. Makes a lot of sense. So Gukesh is not going to try and stir up the drama today. Now Ding, a little bit low on confidence lately, so he might want to stir up the drama. The problem is when you're low on confidence, you have a good opening prep, your coaches do everything well, you do everything well, you come to the game, you play the opening, then the opening ends, you no longer know what's the evaluation, you make a few moves, and when you have low confidence, you somehow think that the moves you made were not good, and moves opponents made were better, and no matter the position, you just start seeing the negatives, and you start evaluating it wrong, you start thinking that you are not doing well, and then there's an option at some point to make a draw or play on. And because you feel that you played worse than your opponent, you feel you're not in a great position, you think the draw is the best option you have, and you take it. And actually, sometimes you're better, but you still take the draw because your low confidence makes you think that you are worse. It's not that you think that you are like weak now, so you should make the draw instead of playing for a win in a better position. It's not that, no, you just really think that you're worse. And that's the issue with low confidence. It messes with your brain. So that's why we could get a game that's not too spectacular. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. But still, I think what could help us is that Ding saw that he had chances in game 2 and he saw he didn't use them. So he might have that feeling inside him that, okay, this time not to make the same mistake. And he also knows if he doesn't use chance today, he might not get a chance tomorrow. So it's how it works. Opening wise, okay, he played e4 the previous time. In e4, the advantage he has is that he knows that Gukesh is going to probably repeat the e5 move. So he has a little something to rely on. In fact, in d4, he doesn't even know. Does Gukesh maybe plays the QGA, maybe Gukesh plays knight f6, e6, Nimzo Indians, maybe Gukesh has prepared the Slav. I mean, frankly, Gukesh probably will resort to one of his usual things, which is knight f6, e6 or the QGA. I doubt Gukesh will pull out a Slav or a Greenfield King's Indian. I doubt that, but you never know. In e4, Ding can sort of assume that e5 comes, and then he can work with that, which is not much to work with. He doesn't know much more. He knows the Gukesh played some bishop c5 Italian. So you might go into Italian, but of course Gukesh prepared very well. In Spanish, of course, also Gukesh is prepared very well. So not clear what to aim for. But a little more info on e4 than on d4. But on d4, for example, if you play the London, it doesn't matter what opponent plays. So you can just play the London, you can also play the Reti, so it doesn't matter what opponent plays. Or the English. Hard to guess. I think it won't be e4 somehow. But we'll see. What do you guys think? Let me see. I did a poll on Twitter. On X. I did a poll on X. This X, by the way, is simply not cool, yeah? This X. Not like it's cool. It hasn't become cool or something. X. I mean, childish. It's this kind of cool when you are a kid. Yeah, X. No, it's just Twitter, so. Let's see. E4 50%, D4 35%, other 15%. Yeah, people think E4, but I think this is Bobby Fischer bias. We will stream WCC as you play LCC Blitz. No, I won't play the LCC Blitz. I think we had some visa related things that make it very hard and probably impossible to go to London the way I intended to. So I'll probably not play that. Let's see. 1G3, someone says. Yeah, and prediction, draw, not a draw. 47% think it's a draw. 53% think it will not be a draw. Wow, strange. No, it's definitely more than 50% chance that it's a draw today. I can tell you that. So if I could bet against my own Twitter poll, I would bet against my own Twitter poll. In both cases, I think that non-E4 is more than 50% chance. Because you have D4 and F3, C4, and G3, or whatever. And they're just more options, so they outweigh one E4. Simple as that. Who do you support now? Actually, I support a spectacular match, so in some sense I support Ding because of that. I want Ding to Because somehow Gukesh, I am sure Gukesh will play well. And Ding, I think he needs my support to play well. So I want them both to play well. May as well, I will be world champion. Well, one day, guys, one day. Just be patient. Be patient, Chad. Ding chilling. Today? Yeah. Hang on, I forgot. I have forgotten to open for myself the broadcast, so I can follow the video, see if they're there, the players. Gukesh-Ding. Yeah, so hard to find those on YouTube. That's why you guys are here on my stream, because other streams are hard to find. Mine is just right there for you. Game stream, okay. They're both seated. Maurice is there. Maurice in the house. Yeah, Maurice is a pro. Been there, done that. Been annotating, commentating, announcing chess since the 90s. How come Hikaru has streaming rights? I don't think Hikaru has the streaming rights. Everybody has the streaming rights, but I don't think he has the broadcast. That would be shocking. Fabi versus Arjun for FIDE circuit spot? Yeah. I guess I'm not following, honestly. I'm not following. I just trusted that whoever somebody will get it. Nihal made a draw. Lucky Nihal. Nihal made a draw. Yeah, they're about to start. Oh, we have guests. I think it is a Vicious Sir. I think it's Xijun, but I don't see very. Yeah, it looks like Xijun, but the world champion from ex-world champion from woman world champion from China. I don't see very well. Knight f3 was executed, and 2 ceremonial moves and d5. But I'm not sure if these moves will stay. These are ceremonial moves. Wait, are they making 2 ceremonial moves that stay on the board? That's quite nuts. No, I think they have to go back, yeah? Yeah, they will go back. No, but wait. They're making 2 ceremonial moves that remain on the board? No, so he does play knight f3. And he does play d5 again. Yeah, and e3. Wow. Wowzers. No, this doesn't surprise me. This is, you know, when this became a thing, it actually became a thing against Vichy. Somebody played against Vichy successfully. Actually, Sergei Karyakin played against Vichy in candidates back in the day when he was part of our chess world, part of the international chess world. Karyakin was prepared this for candidates that he won in Moscow. Those were the days. Different times. I believe 2000. Oh, was it where I played 16 or was it in 16 simply? Maybe it was simply in 16. Yeah, Karyakin won 16. So yeah, it was in 2016. It was new. It was very rare at the time. Everybody was like, "What the hell is that?" But actually, now it's a thing. It's still not very common, but it's a thing. Now Gukesh has lots of different setups. Main moves knight f6 or c5, I guess. White is playing as though white is black. See, it doesn't cross the 4th rank. Playing as if it's knight f6. Now yeah, b3 or c4. d4 usually you don't go if you have not gone d4 yet. You postpone it usually in this order. So b3 or c4 really. Dig already left, yeah. b3. Wow. Okay. So this means the game on. So you play the reversed Queen's Indian. Imagine you're black. This is called the Queen's Indian. You guys know why it's so there are a lot of openings that are called Indian openings. So there's the King's Indian, Queen's Indian, Old Indian, and the reason they're called Indian because some Indian players played it back in the day, of course, like I think Banerjee is his name, Mr. Banerjee, but Banerjee, let me just check the name, I don't say the wrong name. Banerjee chess. Yeah, Moheshundar, Banerjee or Banerjee, I think it depends on the spelling. Yeah, from Bengal, yeah, from Kolkata. So he was playing Indian chess, traditional Indian chess, and the thing about Indian chess, probably Indian viewers know more, but pawns don't move two squares They move one square at a time. So a lot of the Indian players like Banerjee or Sultan Khan, later, they played a lot of Indian chess, and then they tried the international version, but they're still used to the openings from the Indian chess, so they were playing a lot of these openings where you don't move pawn 2 steps forward, but just 1 step. And you see that in the Queen's Indian setup. So e3, b3, e6, b6, reversed Queen's Indian, reversed. Somebody says Banerjee is not Banerjee. Honestly, yeah, Wikipedia says Banerjee, but for example, Chess Games website says Banerjee. I don't know. I don't really understand that. It might have to do with the Sanskrit maybe, and the way the O and the A could be, I don't know, same letter. I don't think so, but yeah, I know. When also I'm Anish, and some people say it a little bit with an O, like it's Onish. I mean, I don't know. Could be that. His first name. Yeah, he has also a remarkable first name. So it says, Wikipedia says Moheshundar Banerjee or Mahesh Chandra Banerjee. His first name is sometimes misspelled Mohishundar, though Maheskandra is a variant. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works. Surely the Indian people in chat know better. Honestly, don't know. But yes, yes, you see. So in the Wikipedia article, it's also stated here that the man Moheshundar Banerjee. Yeah, sometimes they call them Banerjee, not Banerjee. He played a lot against Cochrane, the British player. We speak now 19th century. Yeah, the reverse Queen's Indian defense against Indian. That's what it is. Yeah, Karakin no longer plays in the international tournaments. Yeah, anyone who has Bengali influence will pronounce Anish as Onish. In Bengali, A sounds like O many times, and now it is even written as O. Yeah, it's what I suspected. Because I know that some people in Nepal also, when they say my name, the A sounds a little bit like an O. So I figured. Gukesh is thinking, but I can tell you guys honestly, he's not really surprised here. Not really. He has looked at this. It is very much in the spirit of what Ding has been doing in the previous World Championship match. This system exists. Black has few options. You can develop this bishop here or here. Now be careful developing this bishop in an opening like this. Be careful. Because whenever the queen has access to b3 square, developing this bishop might be premature, so beware. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's premature, especially when the pawn is not on c6. Now here, let's say this is okay, because you have queen b6, but here you really are struggling to defend this one. So if you go queen c8, cd is coming, b6 is weakening. You don't want to play b6 and have the bishop not on b7, because these light squares are weakened, these ones. You want the bishop to be here. So this is a bad combo. However, when the pawn is on b3, so queen b3 is never an issue, this bishop can very safely come out. Now if it comes out here, it might get chased quite intensely. And this is a very nasty thing. I'm sure some of you have experienced it. When this comes for you and the bishop is there, you don't want to defend the bishop from this way, because this doubling is quite ugly. These squares are all weak. So this is a lot more tricky than bishop to f5. Bishop f5, if white wants to chase the bishop, they spend an extra move, yeah? White lost the tempo here as compared to here. So this is the safest. But you could also do this and provoke g4 and then just accurately neutralize. So here, let's say you can try to chase the knight with knight d7. Sometimes they go knight fd7. Point is that if they go knight fd7, d4, this doesn't hit the knight. And if you go more naturally with this knight, this does hit the knight. And this position is not relevant, but I mean that as an idea. For example, in these situations, a bishop suddenly gets trapped, yeah, because this came with the tempo on the knight. But if you had gone here, this wouldn't have been an issue, because the knight is not under attack. This knight is here, so you can nicely safeguard the bishop from h5. So these things are there. And the other direction is to go for c5. Play it like reversed colors with white, space. Then you can develop bishop here, or you can develop bishop here also very popular. Especially in the reversed Queen's Indian, bishop coming to fianchetto is the most popular setup. You could also play very, very safe. Just develop this bishop here or here. Keep the bishop close, don't take space yet. You can go for sort of a setup like this, b6, bishop b7, fianchetto. Very solid, probably the most solid thing you can do. But white sometimes, having not committed to any central moves, what white sometimes can do some wild stuff like this. Some wild stuff like this, absolutely wild and crazy, using the diagonal and the file. So lots of options here. Bishop f5 came. Bishop e2 is a very subtle move, a very, very subtle move. A very, very subtle move, guys. h6, bishop e3. Now I'll explain you what's happening here. They're very subtle stuff. I'll explain you what's happening. So the most obvious move after b3 is to develop the bishop to b2. Black will then just complete development. Go e6, develop the bishop, castle, develop the knight somewhere. Sometimes safeguard the bishop with h6, bishop h7, so that it doesn't get trapped for a trade like this. Doesn't get trapped for a trade. So you sometimes they safeguard it with h6. Go e6. Okay, this is one way of playing. Now there is this idea of bishop a3, very creative. Before black went e6, now after e6, you trade these bishops, which is an interesting thing strategically, because you get this bishop which is placed amongst the pawns of its own color, which often means the bishop is a little bit bad. Because it's staring at its own pawns, sort of. So white's bishop has a little bit more freedom and room, as the white pawns will be on the dark squares. Now, fair enough, you will say. Also, you read black of castling rights, which also takes him quite some time. So maybe here best is to go king f8 and g6, king g7, but then the bishop, yeah, a little bit stuck. So bishop a3 is there. Black can go knight d7. Let's say you make some move. Then maybe e6 or e5. Take with the knight, actually. Develop the knight back, and then castle. Keep the castling rights. This is there. This is in a playable way for white. Now, what you do is, what Ding did is bishop e2. Now, very, very cunning. Now, the point is, if you play e6, which is the normal move, then I trap the bishop for a trade. So I get the bishop pair, two bishops. Not a huge advantage, but something to work with. Now, if you go h6, intending to go e6, giving the bishop the room, now I go bishop a3. So what happened now, we included these two moves. And now in the line like this, I've made the move bishop e2, which is for sure useful. And you've made the move h6, which is somewhat useful. So I haven't won a tempo, but I have gained something. I played something that I have to play, and you played something that you might play eventually. Maybe you will play it somewhere, but maybe priority for you is to develop castle and push the pawn in the center. And especially in a move like e5 here, well, h6 is definitely not a priority. Bishop could even retreat here. So these are very smart, cunning move orders. This bishop e2 is a very, very cunning move. Because again, if you do go e6, you remove this bishop a3 idea, because now, okay, you take. You misplace the knight, you don't lose the rise to castling. But now Ding doesn't want to go bishop a3, now he would go knight h4, trapping the bishop for a trade. And notice after bishop e2, black would go h6. Now if you go bishop a3, then you lost the tempo, you didn't go bishop e2. So by neither going bishop b2 nor bishop a3, by starting with bishop e2, he tried to do some sort of a trickery, you understand? He's trying to say e6 I go knight h4, and h6 I go bishop a3. And this is what happened. So what happened? This is not, this thing, it's not many people know about it, but it exists, it's not new. In fact, you know who played it first, at a high level? Of course. It was Wesley So. And against whom? Absolutely, against me. Now you might think the game ended in a draw, but no, I won. I won the game. So please stop with your nonsense. I won that game. I didn't get a good position though from the opening, but I think he blundered later. Now Wesley played against me exactly this way, bishop e2, h6, bishop a3. I think I went knight d7. You can castle, you can also go c4 actually, I'm challenging the center. I think we got a position like that. I think we got something like this. Very safe position for white. Very safe. You could grab space in the center. You could also try and do some funky stuff like that, keeping the pawn here, using some dark squares. This bishop is a little bit hitting the empty air, and the dark square bishop is gone, so the king is very safe. Now what's gonna happen now? I'm going to slightly adjust the eval bar because I like the opening. I like the opening. So here is +1. This is 0.5. No, it's 0.5. It's 0.3. 0.3. So white's a bit better. Not only white's a bit better, it's a good character of play against Gukesh, maybe. Especially if you trade these bishops. A very safe, solid, stable, strategic position that I think Ding understands well. A very smart choice against Gukesh. Of course, Gukesh could have gone for some other line, which would be a lot sharper and suit his style. Gukesh, he can play very solid too. He can. But the thing is that when he plays solid, he's less likely to win. So he draws quite well too, Gukesh. But Ding, of course, happy to play a calm game for 2 results mostly. So I'm not saying that the e3 b3 is an amazing choice. But now that this happened, I guess it's quite good. I don't know if black can try to avoid the trade of the bishops. One thing that comes to mind is knight d7, c5. But knight d7, I'll go c4. Challenge the center. If you go c5, I don't know, this feels a little bit odd for black. I don't know, it feels a little bit odd. You've lost the central pawn for the side pawn. Feels a little bit shaky for black. Feels a little bit shaky. Ding eating banana, somebody says. So knight d7, c5 is not quite happening. Trying to dodge the trade. Now, the problem with this is that it makes the move h6 look super weird. Super weird. And the bishop on f5 has even less squares than usual. It's an odd combo, g6 and... Okay, g5 maybe for a blitz game. g5, bishop, g7 is an interesting idea, but it's so committal, so weakening. So early in the game, it's not great. Now I expect knight d7, c4, maybe c6 first. Castle. e6. e5 you could also consider. You could consider e5, but and the issue is that here you can't take with the knight, so you have to lose the rights to castling, and then you've created some... Okay, d4, e4, you'll go, well, the thing is, even here, yeah, I don't know, it's difficult to say what's happening here, like that from the top of my head. Possible for sure. Now, don't stop e5 with d4, because after bishop b1, suddenly you're losing the piece. It's a nice one. Nice little trick. So yeah, castle, e5 or e6. e6 much more solid. Much more solid. Nothing is exposed, and you want to castle. But then yeah, knight c3, knight d7 or knight g6. Knight g6 leaves the bishop with few squares, so I don't really like it. And then h6 pawn also doesn't look useful. Knight d7 makes more sense, so the bishop can go here and castle. I think I saw a game like this. I think that it even went some like d4 castle, bishop d3. I think it was a game of Nodirbek with black against Bardia Daneshvaran, I think. Or not, maybe it was another Iranian player. They have two. The Bardia Daneshvar, and there is one other guy. His name may be Musavi or... Yeah, I sometimes confuse them a little bit. Young Iranian players. But I think that Nurbeck was with black. This happened in that game. And Nurbeck got nowhere with black at all. It was very solid draw against the lower rated player. Knight b7 played. Knight b7 played. No, it was not Idani Poya, no. No, he looked a little bit similar to Banishvar. Let me tell you, I think this guy called Musavi. Maybe I mix up. Yeah, there is a guy called Musavi, but Khalil Musavi, but I don't know if it was him or it was Bardia, if I forgot. Bardia much stronger, of course, now. But either way, it was one of the two players. They have also many young players in Iran up and coming. Many. In Title Tuesdays, if you do very well, yeah. You have this guy also, Reza Mahdavi, I think. There's also one more. They have many good players up and coming in Iran. After Ali Reza and Parham and Idani and Amin Tabatabai, of course, as well. They have a new generation. Many good players from Iran. Gonna be a very strong team as well. Competing with the Indian Olympic team and the US Olympic and the Chinese Olympic team. It was my game against Wesley So. That's what I told you. Yeah, this was the first game. Bishop e2, Bishop a3. The first time the world saw this strange idea was my game against Wesley So in the Champions Tour, which I won. Castle. Okay, castle. Yeah, you can start c4. Yeah, and this is a big moment for Gukesh. A big moment, as we have mentioned. e6 or e5, very different. c5 feels a little bit too ambitious, too artificial. But e6 or e5, this is a critical moment to decide which one do you do. e6 is a very solid, very passive, and e5 is... You're taking the center, but without the dark squared bishop, the attack is not going to be dangerous because you're not going to right away attack this h2 pawn from the d6 square. And you do lose rights to castling, which is not the end of the world, but it does slow down your development by a move. Does it mean Wesley is on Ding team? Oh, by the way, that of course could very well be. That could very well be actually. That this idea is coming from Wesley. A little bit dry, exactly. That's how Ding wants it. He wants it a little bit dried. Slightly dried up Ding. It's nicer. Against Gukesh sometimes to play a little bit dry. Avoid the prep. Why did I join chess base? But why join chess base? I wasn't asked, to be honest. That's why I wasn't asked. But also, I think we're doing fine here. We're watching the game. We're chilling. Okay, I think it's time for me to look up in the base if there's something happened in this line. But I'm pretty sure this is my game with Wesley, and I think there was this game of Banishvar. Let me actually find which Iranian player, because let's not be. It's always so stupid that you don't remember which player it was. I usually remember which players, but just somehow I have these young guys. They look a little bit similar also on the physically. They look a little bit similar, so I confuse them. Yeah, it was no. So it was actually funny enough. It was Musavi against Absatorov. Yeah, it was funny because I spoke to the guy I think at some point, and I thought that he was Bird. Yeah, I just mixed them up. It's very funny. Both young and strong Iranian players. and I confused them at that time. But yeah, so Musavi played against Absatorov, but fun fact is that Danishvar Barya also played it against Injic though, or more recently. This is kind of funny, so I didn't really confuse, it is just both were there. But yes, the first, let me put you here the chronology for myself. So the first time it was played in over the board rather, like on high level. It was my game against Wesley So. Then Hans played it against Vidit. Then Musavi played it against Absatorov. And then Danishvar against Injic. Knight bd7. Yeah, Wesley played c4 against me, by the way. I also felt that c4 was a bit more natural, but if you go e6, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it's mostly a transposition. Mostly a transposition. White is for now very, very safe. Very similar choice by Ding as that last time. Very, very similar. He really was able again to get Gukesh into a very limited space, and into the kind of game where Gukesh talents cannot manifest themselves. You can be as gifted and as great a calculator as you want, but there's nothing to calculate here. Nothing's happening. He turned the game into a very positional battle. Now, good for Ding. However, you can only do that with the white pieces. With black, it's it's not up to you what kind of game you get. It's up to white very often. So with white, Ding is able to control the games very well. And Gukesh's strategy is to just sit out with black. Okay, is that okay? You can control the game. You can be slightly better. It's okay. Gukesh says, I will hold today. The fun's going to be tomorrow. And Ding should exploit the today, because this is a little bit nicer for white. I mean, for modern chess standards, yeah, it's as nice as it gets. Let me wait. Sorry, I opened. Let me check it on the other window. Let me check with my strong engine. I'll check it once again on Chessify website. Not because I'm a good brand ambassador of Chessify, but because it's better for my computer. Oh snap. Oh snap. I already had the engine running somewhere. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I'll see here. So I will see what the strong engine is thinking about this, and I adjust the bar accordingly. H6, bishop a3, knight d7, castle. Yeah, e5, by the way, not terrible, but e6 is solid. Bishop f8, knight f8, c4, knight back to d7. Yeah, interesting moment there. One interesting moment there in the last move. One interesting moment I would like to mention. One interesting moment I'd like to mention. So Gukesh has played knight to d7, which is the most normal move in the world, castling. But he could have gone c6. Now the difference is that after c6, cd, you can recapture cd and keep the symmetry. Because knight d7, I can go cd now, create an imbalance in the pawn structure. And then you can try to go for before knight c3, try to play on these little dark squares. It's sort of a Carlsbad structure, sort of. Like you could get a delayed Carlsbad structure like that. Imagine you get something like this, and now you go d4, and you got the Carlsbad structure having gone the minority attack before. Some kind of a move order thingy. Like normally you get the Carlsbad structure first, and then you do the minority attack. But you could also first do the minority attack and then get the Carlsbad structure. Creates an imbalance. I think it's an interesting opportunity for Ding to use if he wants to play ambitiously. Start knight c3. Likely Gukesh will give another chance to do this, but he could have gone c6, avoiding that. Could have gone c6, avoiding it, and the computer says there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. So very subtle, but a little nuance. To mention. A little nuance to mention, basically. A little nuance to mention. Yeah, the thing is I had Chessify engine already running on the other laptop, and now I've distracted it with my new. They had some nice feature. They offered me actually they said, do you want to switch the engine to here? And I didn't realize, like, yeah, sure. But actually I switched off my other engine, so I have to now restart it probably. But yeah, very subtle. A big moment actually now in the game, surprisingly. As big a moment as it gets in this opening. CD or not CD. An opportunity that he got, big opportunity that he got to change strategic character. Because this would have kept the game much more dry. And this allows the imbalance. Depends on how ambitious Ding wants to be. Now the safest way to play is to just ignore this and not create an imbalance. I think this is what this Musavi did. Something like this. This is safe. You're just not gonna lose if you're a top player. You're just not gonna lose. Nothing's happening here. You can push for e4. You can also not push for e4. The guy will then push for e5 or c5. It will just on a high level this simplifies most of the time in classical chess for sure. But if Ding wants to be a little bit ambitious, I think CD is the way to try, maybe. We'll see what he does. No, I don't think it's a very weak prep. Sometimes a very weak prep. No, not very weak prep. No, both players know this. They know this. It's I think they also maybe had alternatives that they could resort to, but they know this. They just don't rush it. Why to rush it? There's no rush. There's no rush. You don't need to rush. You don't need to blitz out everything. You've got lots of time. You've got lots of time. Take your time. You have 2 hours. No. No. No rush. They know all this. They know. I don't know if Gukesh has. If Gukesh consciously played knight d7. If he thought about c6 seriously enough. I think he played it actually quite quickly. Maybe a little too quickly even. I'm not sure if he considered this idea to keep the symmetry. It's not a big deal. I mean, this is very, very, very okay for black. Like, even if the worst happens, you get this, what I mentioned, this minority thing. You get this one weakness. To lose this, a lot has to happen. It's very, very safe position for black, but it's quite sad. It's quite sad. It's quite constrained. So you can't play for a win with black. You can't show your creativity. Your juices of creativity will not be flowing here. The tap is closed for the juices. This structure is a playable pawn structure. It's so far unclarified and standard. But having gotten rid of the dark squared bishops really massively reduces black's attacking potential. Now this bishop on d6, which would attack the h2 pawn, it would be the most active piece black would have. And having it traded is a massive blow to black's attacking chances. So black just doesn't have attacking chances anymore. Now all black has left is a very solid position with a good pawn center. But basically Ding has managed to kill all the fun. which is a good approach. I think it's a good approach. I think you should try and kill the fun with players that are good at fun, like Gukesh. And the question is how ambitiously and how well Ding is going to push this. He can definitely coast this towards a draw if he wants. It's a similar situation as in game 2. Even less than in game 2. It's even less than in game 2. But it's really up to him. How far does he want to try and milk this? Does he want to spend a lot of energy on this game? Does he want to try and milk it? Or is he just happy to have a controlled, safe game and go for another battle tomorrow? I mean, if you keep having only the battles with only the black pieces, well, your expected value is a little bit lower than if you played the match with both colors. But it's possible. It's possible. It's a very it's not a great approach, but it could still work out. People playing Carlsen in those matches. I remember Karekin and even Nepo. They've taken a similar approach. They haven't pushed Carlsen much. They tried to contain him with white, which they did very successfully. And they were ready for a fight with black. And they were very fine with maintaining an equal score. But I think that Ding is a very, very, very good strategic player. And he can try and outplay Gukesh in these positions. I don't think he has to necessarily shut it down. I think he can try and outplay Gukesh. I think these positions are the kind of areas where Gukesh still should be inferior to Ding if Ding is in good form. But yeah, whether Ding is in good form, that's the question. That is the question. Massive dilemma for Ding. He knows that CD is an option now. He knows this. He knows that there was C6. He knows that he got this option. But it creates a little bit of asymmetry, and it signals a slightly more imbalanced fight. White still doesn't take much risk here, but it is more fighting than just developing. So it's a choice for him. He knows that he can do it, but it's a choice. It's not a life-changing choice, so it's not like you will. Wait a second. It's not like you will win with one, lose with the other, but it's not a choice that will determine the outcome of the game, but it's a choice that will determine the course of the game. The course of the game, guys. It's very important to figure out the right course for the game. Okay, I've been yapping a lot because I was trying to reset my Justify engine, and I've managed that, so that's good. But here you don't need an engine. It's engine will say it's I already saw it says 010 or something, or 0 or 010 depending on the version. But it's within basically position is equal, but white is maybe slightly more comfortable. I still believe, given the styles of players, this eval bar that I have here, this one, I think I've put it right here. If he'll go CD, I'll put it a bit higher. If he'll allow C6, I'll put it a bit lower. For now, it's here. So the eval bar is right where it should be. Should Gukesh play something different to get more of a game? No, it's not so simple. Not so simple. C5, E6, G6, all these moves, I've talked about them. Ding is prepared against all of them, so it wasn't easy. Gukesh played a very solid line. Yeah, he could have tried to do something else, but no guarantee he would get a great fighting position. No, Ding is prepared against all of them. Now the problem with the setup by white is that of course it's quite timid. So whatever black plays, you can't get a big advantage. But it is very solid. It seems very solid. Especially if you want to treat this in a very solid manner. Well, obviously this would have been sharper. So if Gukesh wanted a more sharp fight, could have gone for this imbalance, giving up the bishop pair, getting some preserving this bishop. But Gukesh doesn't want with black to rock the boat, you understand? This is not his strategy. He is rocking the boat with white. Which is very sensible, because with white you're better than with black, you have an extra move. Why does Ding not look no, Ding is prepared. He's just not rushing, he is prepared. It's just that he didn't check this very move by move. No, he's prepared. He's just taking his time, because it's a big decision, CD or not CD. I tell you, he anticipated that he knew that black would play c6, and then CD would not disturb the symmetry. Would not disturb the symmetry. But let me just check one thing here. Just for fun, just to make sure I'm not talking nonsense. Just want to check on the computer if CD is yeah, CD is okay. Also a very interesting point, by the way. So the reason the computer prefers c6. Oh, I by the way went knight d7. This is how I play. This is simply literally my. What we have now is literally. What we have on the board is literally, literally my game. I also responded the same way. This is literally the only precedent is literally Wesley so against Anish Giri here. Wesley just played knight c3 and d4. I did, by the way, something interesting later on in the game. Now I'll tell you something. Now the reason the computer says c6 prepares for CD is not only because of CD, which is okay, it's okay. But I didn't like also here, I also was wondering a little bit, isn't white a little bit more nice with this bishop being a little bit, you know, hitting the emptiness and not being amazing. And indeed, computer goes queen here, knight here, rook here, small pressure on the c file. But the reason it goes c6, cd, and not knight d7 is because computer goes ed here, actually. Computer goes ed here. And the knight is then going to e6, which is a much more active square than d7. So that is the reason, actually. Actually, he doesn't want to take cd necessarily, but he delays, postpones knight d7. Which makes me think that I guess I could start knight c3. Yeah, and then the computer goes queen e7 also sometimes. Prevents b4 for now. And after cd wants to go ed, develop knight to e6. So that is actually very subtle. c6, queen e7. That is the very subtle way to play. Knight d7 is a little bit, more rough. A little more, not rough, like, you know, by rough I mean it's a little more, like you only have those brush strokes, you know, you're painting something and you're not like doing this little, but you're just doing like a, like you paint, you know, some kind of painting, and you could just be like, painting nice little, and you could, so Gukesh knight d7 is this kind of move, like, you know, that's like very rough, like it's a good stroke, like you get the wall painted, but it's not very subtle, because after cd, ed, the knight can no longer go to e6, these little subtleties. Yeah, the engine gives white a small, small number here, small number. Yeah, Wesley played against me like that. That is not the most ambitious now. This is the most symmetrical we can get. And I did something interesting later. I went bishop g4 and took here. Interesting approach I did. The bishop was kind of, it's okay, but it's in the emptiness here, and it's potentially a bad bishop in the endgame. I just went bishop g4 and took here. I won the game eventually, not because of the opening, but actually it was not stupid to give the bishop like that. Not stupid. But Wesley played d4. You don't need to play for d4. You can delay this d4 move. You can go for this cd b4 positions. Also, the computer suggests bringing a queen here. Good square for the queen. Queen supports the b pawn from there and connects the rooks. Knight comes here. A very safe position for white. Ding's chilling. I don't think he should be chilling that long. He dropped lower on the clock. Okay, guys, the eval bar gets a little adjustment. You drop low on the clock. Okay, your advantage reduces also, my friend. Even more, to be honest. Yeah. The longer you think, the lower it will drop. So please make a move at some point. Yeah, in fact, you know what? Let's give him nothing for now, because he is thinking simply. Yeah, okay, you get nothing. He gets nothing. Okay, he made the move. He made the move. Okay, okay. Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. You made the move. That's fine. That's okay. Okay. You're back up there. All right. You're back up there. Fine. Sorry. Sorry. I'm just putting pressure. Putting a bit of pressure on Ding. Because he's there chilling. But actually, okay, make a move, yeah? Make a move, my friend. Oh, Ding, by the way, took off the jacket. Beautiful. He has now a beautiful white shirt. It's looking dashing. Yeah, he has a very nice white. I like white shirts. I also have some white shirts, very nice. Is Gukesh also having white shirt? Let me see. Gukesh also has some kind of shirt. Yeah, I think it's white. Yeah, yeah. Maybe cream color. Yeah, Gukesh probably castle. Because now after c6, as you already know, I can take here. Yeah, this is... It's still white, is still a little bit nicer here. And the knight no longer comes to e6, yeah, so you can go cd. But I guess Gukesh might castle. I'm not sure Ding is taking here, if he hasn't taken before. I think d4 makes the game... it's a fine move, but it makes it a little less... asymmetrical, a little less flexible, a little more drawish, even a little more drawish. If you go d4 without cd, the eval bar will drop a little bit more. But now it's Gukesh to move. Gukesh is to move. So that's fine. Now the eval is here now. It's 0. You can see here, yeah? How much is it? It's around 0.2. 0.2. If Gukesh will drop lower on the clock, it will rise a bit. c5 with the idea of d4, and d4 is just not happening. c5, vulnerable now. So c5 I can even consider this, and then you got the isolated pawn. I had a lot of Tile Tuesday streams recently. I mean, my last Tile Tuesday stream had 2 games against this isolated pawn. I won both of them. It's easy to play for white such positions. c5 is just not it. c5 you also want the knight on c6. Knight d7 and c5 is a poor combo. 97 and c6 is more normal. DCs. I'll recapture to the center. It's not terrible, but it's again knight here is. You want to go and put the pawn here. And yeah, the combo of all these 3 moves is just not very pretty. You want the bishop on b7 then, and yeah, it's just DC is just a strange move. No, he castled. He castled. He's playing fast. Playing fast. Playing fast. Ding's edge is non-existent. Gukesh is playing fast. It's a big decision on Ding now. CD or d4. b4 directly also may be possible, but you have to deal with DC then. Want to deal with DC? Well, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I don't know. You can go b4 first. Nothing wrong with b4 first, I think. CD b4 is the most, for me it's the most obvious continuation. But I do know that people play d4 here. Wesley played against me, so I do know that this is, and also that's what Bardia played. I think d4 is the safest way to play, but I'm not sure it's the most fun. I think this is most ambitious, to create a unbalanced pawn structure, sort of a Carlsbad, and then go for b4. Minority attack without yet having a pawn on d4. You can use the square for the knight for now, maybe somewhere. Knight is not doing much there, but square is available. Square is available. Yeah, this position is, you know, that's also why you shouldn't maybe think so long here, because like, there's nothing to talk about actually. There's not much to talk about here, to be very honest with you. Just have to pick a direction and make a move. don't think you can think too deeply here. There's very little happening in this position, which is good for white, good for Ding, because you don't want Gukesh to get all creative and start calculating something interesting. No, it's fine. It's quite dull, quite contained. But there isn't that much to think about. It's really just, I mean, you can go for d4. You can go for CD and b4. You can consider b4, queen c1, queen b2. I think take before queen b3 more natural than queen c1, queen b2, but okay, it's a matter of taste maybe. But I don't think these moves are that different in their evaluation. It's just a different course of the game that you're choosing. And I think you should just choose them. I mean, I don't think there's much point, but well, he has a lot of time. I mean, he's not too slow yet. He has 130. Gukesh has 138. I can choose, of course, a little bit, but I don't think there's much to choose. I mean, just pick something and go with it. I think, to be very honest, especially if it's for World Championship match, he could have made those choices at home. Especially because this happened in a very high-profile game between two very strong players before. I mean, you could have made these choices, like do you go d4 or cd, could have made them at home and played it fast. I think he should have, frankly. I think he should have, so, you know, he should have. Imagine also the effect, yeah? Gukesh would have the same amount of time, and Ding would have 1 hour 58 here. A 20-minute advantage on the clock, and psychological advantage too. Now, the Ding's prep is... I understand once again, I understand his prep. He's happy with positions that suit him. He doesn't check them deeply. He checks deeply positions that he doesn't like, which is very normal and understandable. But a little more positive thinking wouldn't disturb, especially if you want to win a game. If you want to win the game, you can check good scenarios a little bit deeper too, especially if that happened before. And in multiple games, and I mean, many players have played this way. Many players have responded with bishop f5, h6, and knight d7, e6. Many players have done it. Okay, only one high-profile game reached this position, but there were some similar ones through different orders, like with c4, c6 first. There were similar games that reached this position, so he could have been a bit deeper prepared with white, and he could have decided all these things before the game, not during. I think, yeah, okay, he took cd. Okay, this is a good decision. He didn't spend too much time. I like cd. Slightly up his... wait. Should have had alt on. Slightly up his edge. Not edge, his edge. cd, ed. Especially if he goes before now quickly. We'll nicely put it on, yeah, before quickly. Okay, we'll nicely put it on solid 0-3, maybe even 0. Yeah, I like his position, okay. Well, around 0-3 now, 0-35. And it's Gukesh's turn to think, 7 minutes advantage for Gukesh, not too much. Yeah, I like it, I like it. Just within their fans are calling for you, somebody says. Well, my friend, first of all, no need to write the same message 100 times. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, haven't been, but I'm just doing my stream here. I'm just doing my stream here, so it's fine. It's fine. They have too many. Also, they have many great. They have many great commentators, and it would be too much to have them all. Can't have them all. You also want to have Vidit there, surely. I know you guys. You also want to have Adiban there. You also want Robert Hess there, I'm sure. But you can't have it all. You have to have limited commentators. C6 fast, huh? The space is slightly unnerving me. I'll drop it. Space is unnerving me, to be honest. Guys playing fast. Yeah, so the minority attack. Shall we do a lecture on minority attack or not yet? Okay, let's do a lecture on minority attack. It's time. What is the minority attack? D4, Carlsbad structure. These 3 pawns against these 3 pawns. the famous Carlsbad structure, first played by Jacob Carlsbad, a famous Scandinavian player from into the 20th century. Jacob Carlsbad at some point realized that when you have pawn on c4 and e6, you can take here, and after this you get this position. Now it was until Alexander Minority, a famous player, famous British player, Alexander Minority, came up with the move b4. Now it also is so that you do have a pawn minority on the queen side, which is a coincidence because his name was also Minority. It is quite a coincidence. Now you also have a minority here, and you start an attack here. The point is, what you try to achieve, let's say black makes some neutral moves, you try to push b5. Now black could try and prevent it for now, so let's say 6a4 also happens often. And let's say black does allow for the minority attack to succeed. Black waits one more time. And this is basically the minority attack completed. Now what happened is, c6 pawn became weak. Now if you go back to the initial Carlsbad structure, which is how Jacob Carlsbad played it, this pawn chain was a lot stronger because the only weak point was b7 pawn. And as you know, if you're following the stream from multiple lectures from earlier, if the weak pawn is back in your camp, the further back it is, the less weak it is. So b7 pawn is barely a weakness, it can't be attacked. However, when the weakness is on c6, it's much more accessible to pieces. It can be attacked on the c file. When knight comes to e5, it will be attacked. And if it pushes one step further, for example here, then you get the famous Isolani, isolated pawn structure, Isolani, from Mark Isolani, Italian player, also late 20th century. Mark Isolani, he was the first player to get the structure. And that, of course, is a very famous structure with this pawn being very weak because it's exposed here to the knight, which is already almost on the starting position, and it's getting attacked. So you can get this Carlsbad minority attack, and then Isolani, all these people, the giants on which shoulders we are standing. This is all common knowledge in chess. There are other ways of dealing with the minority attack. So one notable way is going for b5, but that does weaken this pawn, but does give black the square on c4, and but does give white the square on c5. So what you see often here is black knight trying to find its way to c4, and white knight trying to find its way to c5 sometimes. And a5 is a way to stop this, but then the knight would then go via d6 to c4. Always an interesting change of pawn structure, but something to consider. Now that is the gist of the minority attack. That is the gist of minority attack. Yeah. Is Wesley working with Ding? Yeah, he might be. Wesley was there in Singapore, and I know Wesley. Wesley doesn't fly for fun. He doesn't fly for fun. He's always saying, "Nah, this looks very bad." Always like, I know this Wesley. Wesley, why don't you play World Cup? Nah, it's very bad. What was Wesley, World Cup? No. Yeah, but Wesley, everybody. Yeah. And they play first round. Like they all like draw it, right? Lose rating. Wesley doesn't come for nothing. Doesn't come for nothing. So if Wesley flew all the way to Singapore, and you know this flight from US to Singapore is the longest flight that exists. He definitely flew for a reason. He flew for a reason, and the reason might be being second of Ding. I kind of like when I look at my own eval bar. I sort of look at it and I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of funny. It's my own eval bar, but it goes back to me. It's very funny. It's so deeply ingrained in you, the eval bar, that when I see the eval bar, like it reconfirms me my own thinking. I choreographer's my own thinking. It's my own eval bar. But I'm like, yeah, it looks better for white. Yeah, nice. Guys, big moment, because you could go for the color. D4 is, I think it's okay timed, but yeah, I think it's actually very, that line I showed you, I think it's actually this B5 move. Actually very principled. I am not sure it's good at all, but it is very principled, because if not for B5, okay, then you get this 2 result position. Black should hold, by the way. Such positions, black should hold them. In fact, quite. But this is the maybe maximum white can get, actually. So while black can hold, white also has some chances. Actually, jokes aside, if you want some real players that that have played this stuff, so there's some classic win in a rook endgame with this pawn structure of I think of Alexander. I think this was Kotov who won. It was an interesting rook endgame. I'll just show you what happened, just the gist of it. Let me just show you what happened, just for the gist of it in that game. So what happened there was black to move in a position like that. Black to move in a position like that, and it was actually quite notable. So black had one weakness here. I'm wondering if he had only one pair of rooks or two. I believe it was just one. But either way, that's not so important. So what happened was he has one weakness, and black was to move, and black made some move, and then white went G4, fixing another weakness here, and that actually gave him some advantage that he could work with. But black should have done instead is should have gone H5, and then get rid of this pawn, and then the only weakness is on F7, which is, again, when pawns are so far behind, they're not really weak. So there would be only one weakness. F7 is not a weakness. But after he got G4, yeah, this pawn became kind of a little bit soft, and then this is also there weak. So he had two weaknesses to work with, even if the pawn is, by the way, on G7. It's still a bit. Maybe in fact the structure he had was this, and pawn maybe was on H7. I don't recall the details, but basically the H pawn became vulnerable, and yeah, principle of two weaknesses was demonstrated for the first time by Kotov. Kotov, yeah, who he played? I think Kotov played against Michael two weaknesses. Another British player, Michael, two weaknesses. That's why it was called the principle of two weaknesses. Ding is thinking. I don't like this such a long thinking. Yeah. Okay, it's an important moment. Okay, I want. Okay, he's 15 minutes behind though, so I'll slightly drop the bar. Yeah, because to be honest, barely anything to work with, and he has no time. So yeah, d4 or not d4, and if not, maybe queen b3. I think knight d4 only looks pretty. It looks pretty. Yeah, because if you start this sort of it is premature, because you get the illusion of attack, but black will at some point just crush you in the center. He played knight d4. Wow. There might be another. Yeah, I mean, knight d4 itself is not crazy. I think he wants to go to b3. This is the f4 that was wrong, but he might want to go to b3, and then have a knight on the queen side for the minority attack. Let's see. Gukesh will probably instantly play. Although bishop g6 or bishop h7 is a difficult choice. Very often bishop g6 is better in these kind of situations. Very often, because your king has room here. If you put bishop on h7, you actually have a back rank issue. If all the pieces leave, you'll be checkmated on the 8th rank. With bishop on g6, you have king on h7. So often you go h6 to have that extra space, but you actually don't tuck the bishop in there. It's kind of a funny thing. Yeah, you can flip your screen if you want to see the board flip. Yeah, you guys can just, if you're watching like this on the phone, you just watch like this. So if you want to flip the board, you can do it yourself. It's okay. Yeah, I guess he'll call bishop g6 quite quickly. Let me just take a look again at the players, how they look. Yeah, Gukesh is in thought. 21 minutes for Ding, 36 for Gukesh. Completely uncalled for. Like, Ding should have been up on the clock, honestly. It's a shame. It's not a big deal, but it's just a shame. He got his prep in. The character of the play suits him. Absolutely no reason to be down on the clock today. Just a shame, to be honest. But it's also not a big deal. But it's just a pity. Gukesh is thinking, just put the bishop on g6, Guki. It doesn't matter. Like, just make it. There's no big difference. It's really, you don't know which one is better. I mean, probably h7. Probably g6, sorry. Probably g6. But who cares? Just pick one. Who cares? I'm pretty sure g6 is a bit better. Look, let's try. Let's try. Bishop h7. Let's see what the bar does. You see? It slightly rose. Okay, let's go back. Now let's try g6. It stayed. You see, g6 is a bit better. So it's, I told you. It is a bit better. Yeah, g6 is a bit better. Just make that move. And then we'll see if he wants knight b3 or not. This f4, it sort of looks pretty if you are superficially looking at this. Like, especially if this was not an issue, like let's say it's like that, and the knight it really is sitting here forever, then maybe you can afford this. But with b6 c5 in the air, like especially if you start doing like this, it's just gonna backfire. Like, look, it's just gonna massively backfire on you. And then look, there's d4 many options already, and see, look what happens to the bar. It just goes down. So it's this is just not good for white. The bar confirms it. So you should not go for knight d4. Wait. I shouldn't go for knight d4 f4. Let's go back here. Yeah, when you go f4 immediately, if you take f4 back, the bar immediately comes back up. So that's fine. He's still thinking. To h7. Slightly less accurate. The bar slightly moved up. But doesn't really matter. It's still very low. Doesn't matter. I think knight b3 he wants, I guess. I guess he wants knight b3 because you can't push b5 being hit by c5. You don't want that. You don't want to be hit by c5. You want to first preserve the knight. No, f4. Queen b3. Let me think. You can do this. I don't really understand what he wants next, but yeah, sorry, but I don't like this. I'm sorry. The bar also doesn't like it. Usually if I don't like something, the bar also doesn't like it. Sorry, I made it a bit thicker. Yeah. The bar doesn't like it. Because the bar doesn't understand. Like, the minority attack is a little bit out of the picture because of c5. I'm not sure what I don't think this is very nice. I don't think this is a very nice setup. I don't quite see it. He wants queen b2 maybe and knight b3. Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Possible. I don't quite understand why the knight had to go to d4, honestly. Why not queen b3? Queen b2 then? Why did the knight have to go? The knight can always go to d4. He wants to avoid my bishop g4 idea. Yeah, but I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, yeah, it's actually quite ambitious. He wants to avoid bishop g4. I think he wants to avoid bishop g4, my idea. Yeah, it was a cool positional idea that I did bishop g4 against Wesley, so it was cool. Okay. Do you think Vidya can be in London Chess Classic? Yeah, of course. Of course he can. The bar is not seen by Hikaru, somebody says. No, I mean knight d4. Okay, it makes some sense. I'll give you that. It makes some sense. From a very ambitious point of view, it makes some sense. Maybe also he'll for now go a4. Not sure what a4 exactly does. I guess he wants queen b2. Okay, let's see. Black goes probably rook e8. Yeah, rook on semi-open file. I think Gukesh will go rook e8. Let's say you go queen b2. Bishop would have been really nice around g6, but okay, whatever. Maybe knight e5. Bishop coming to d3. Yeah, I don't really see it. No. I don't really see it. Knight e5 you allowed also with this knight e4. Why do you allow that? I'm not. I don't get it. Maybe I don't really get it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of. Not a fan of this knight d4 queen b3 operation. Not a fan of that. It's not bad, but I don't think it's amazing. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. At least the bar says it's not amazing. I don't know. Who am I? I think just rook e8. Just rook e8 is a useful move. I don't think there's much to. Much really to. You know, I don't think there's much to. Simply, I don't think there's very much to. I think some sentences they don't have to be finished. There's always this urge. People they try to finish their sentences, but I think sometimes. Yeah, so rook e8. In some positions, you have this thing where you go rook fc1 and queen back to d1, but this is not one of those. There's no business for queen to do on d1. It's not one of those. Jesus, somebody spamming what is Optiver. Okay, this is fine because you sort of promote my sponsor, which is good, but you don't need to spam. Yeah, message deleted by, well, not sure. If you promote my sponsor obsessively, I think that's kind of fine. I don't think you need to delete that message. Optiver is a market maker, guys. It's a market maker. My sponsor for already many years. Great company with supporting chess. Trading their own capital, doesn't have clients. Trading, you know, stock market. Optiver come from the word options, so they specialize in how it's called, second, because you have like the stocks, which is the first, and then you have the options and other things which are the second. I don't know how it's called, second. I forgot some word for that in finance. Finance. It's finance, guys. Finance. Finance. Providing liquidity, guys, to the markets. You know that they've single-handedly made a massive impact on Brazil economy at some point, as they went in there, and they provided liquidity to the markets there. They're all facts. They're all facts. Okay, so that was that. Finance. Yeah. No, it's finance. Rook e8, guys. Just make these moves. Just make them. Why? Like, what are you there? Well, just make the move. Rook e8. You're gonna play rook e8. I know it. You know it. Ding knows it. Play rook e8. Why the suspense? It's funny, everybody knows you're gonna play rook e8. Everybody knows you're gonna play, because what else are you gonna play? You're gonna play rook e8. You know it, I know it. Maybe you'll play queen e7, just to annoy me. Maybe you'll play queen e7. But if you wanna annoy me directly. Just annoy me then, just go queen e7. Fine, you can do this. Okay, if you want to really look special, for your own good, I mean, you might go knight e4. Just to prove a point. But to be very honest, we all know you just want to play rook e8, so just make it. Just make it. Knight d4 helps preventing b5. Nobody was going to go b5. Now knight d4, the only point I see of this move is that you have somewhat prevented bishop g4, and maybe here, yeah, maybe somewhat addressed knight e4, though I have my doubts whether this is not an improvement for white's position, although it's also little. Yeah, we were too much influenced by the bar earlier. It's so little. Also little, because the maximum you want is quite small. Whenever the maximum you want is small, it means that you have very little, but still something to work with. What was the side that takes elo into consideration for eval bar? Yeah, that was LC0 website. You can Google LC0, but I think my bar is a little more accurate. It takes also other factors into account. It's a AI. It's intelligence bar. There's nothing artificial about it. Yeah, it's an AG bar. Yeah, the bar gives white a small edge right now, very tiny, because Guki is thinking. Because Guki doesn't make. If the Guki played rook e8 instantly, bar would just drop to full equality. I think white has nothing, honestly. Especially this knight d4 queen b3 thing. It's beyond me. Knight will comfortably sit on e5 at some point. b5 always met by c5. Even if you ever manage this b5 break, you'll just create one weakness and it will be nothing. So I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, trading the dark square bishops, it has advantages and also disadvantages. Now, in this position, with the dark square bishops, actually, if they were there on d6 and b2, imagine. I don't have a bishop for you. I could, by the way, make a bishop, you know, like, but I'm not gonna do it for you. Imagine them. Just focus your brain. Imagine the bishop here. I know it's hard, but please try. And the bishop here, white one here, black one here. Actually, if you've gone f4 there, sorry, you would have blocked this bishop, and your bishop would have become even more powerful because nothing would come in the way here. So with the bishops present, knight d4 followed by f4 would be quite interesting. Without them, it makes even less of an impression to do this. And f4 without the bishops, it does very little. You don't even close this bishop. It does very little. f4, f5. Well, I've played once such way against Grishuk. You shut off the bishop for a long while, but you expose the pawn and your king becomes a bit weaker, and then Grishuk will come for you with b65 and then somewhere d4. I had a game with him just like that, and it's an illusion. This bishop is shut off the play, but it's okay. It's just okay. And in the end game, it can always come out with g6, even sometimes king h8, bishop g8. So it's just not worth it. It's just not worth all the time. So f4, f5 is not happening. And I don't know what's the point. Maybe queen b2, knight b3, but even then, what is such a big achievement? I don't quite understand. Why is he thinking though, Guki? Why is he thinking? Why is he thinking? What are you thinking about? I mean, you can just sit there and think, of course. Or you can just make a move. That's the choice. When you play chess, there are two things you can do. You can either sit there and think, or you can make a move. There's only two ways about it. Oh my god. Hey guys, let me check my my inbox. I'm getting bored here, out of my mind. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Let me see for fun. What is the bar on other streams saying? What is their bar? Let's see. What is their bar? Yeah, it's around the same. Yeah, it's around the same. Yeah, I've my bar is fine. Gookie thinking very slightly increases it. I don't know if you can notice it. Very slightly increase because they caught on time. Very slight. Let's just bump it up a bit for excitement. Oh my god, the bar! Look at the bar. Look at the bar. Oh, the bar starts with advantage at the bottom. Okay. Slightly messed up the bar. It's okay like this. It's okay. Yeah, it's better now. Yeah. Oh my god, what's happening? You know that it's a big deal, I think. If you're behind the opponent on the clock, it's a psychological thing. Maybe 1 minute doesn't make a difference, but the psychology of it does. Where do you buy your suit jackets? Very stylish. Well, you can buy them for $4. Can tell you that. Tell you that for sure. I have suit jackets. I buy honestly the suits. The problem for me a little bit is that I have sponsored suits. So I'm not. I mean, not the suits, but I put sponsor logo. So actually, you remind me. I wanted to buy a suit. I'll try actually. I might go and buy a suit, new one. But the thing is, I have to not only buy a suit, but I have to also print a logo on it, which is another procedure. And yeah, that's why I don't change suits as much as I would change them, because it's a bit of a hassle. But I buy suits at the standards suit stores, you know, like with the standard ones. You just go and like where they sell the suits, like the dollar store, but for suits, in those. The suit stores. Nothing fancy. Yeah, Guki is not... he's in his own head, bro. Just go rook e8. He's in his own head. He's in deep thought. Ooh, okay. Oh, I just looked at Guki. Oh my god. Okay, sorry, bro. Wow. He's thinking like... Jesus Christ, what are you thinking like that? He's sitting there like something big's happening. Okay, and if you want something big, the bar's gonna rise. Fine. Is there all in thought like this? Like, I mean, come on, what's happening? Just play rook e8, just walk a bit. Hands in pockets. Nothing's happening at all. I spoke about f4 a lot. No, I spoke about f4. f4 is not from this opera. f4 is not from this... It's a thematic move when bishops are here and here, because then it limits this bishop and makes this one more powerful. Without it, it's... I mean, you prevent knight e5, of course, but maybe if knight comes here and you do this with a tempo and black has to go back, maybe you consider, but even then I think it's strategic weakness. It's just strategic weakness, because eventually c5, d4 is coming, and then this will be all... Whenever you go f4, king is a bit weaker, this pawn is a bit weaker. Imagine rook e8, b6, c5. And d4 happening here, all these squares are weak around king. No, f4 is a strategic mistake here. It's a strategic mistake here. In some endgames, when king safety is no longer a factor, you traded queens. Okay, f4 maybe you expand a bit, bring the king somewhere, push a bit. Maybe, but or without d3. But only without queens on. Now the king safety is more and more important. Viewership is up. I suspect that viewership is up when other broadcasts go on a break. I suspect that. Also because we have the most relevant eval bar. You see the actual evaluation here on the stream. Other streams, they're neglecting everything. Like, how can the eval bar be the same when Gukesh's ears turn red, for example? Like, how does that not impact your evil bar? Something is wrong with you then. Okay, Gukesh drank some water. Gukesh drank some water. Hydrated a bit. Hydrating is good for you. But he again put his hand around his head. This is just not helpful. Just make a move. Just make a move. Why don't you have breaks here? Because my bladder is very powerful. I have a very powerful bladder that I've emptied in advance. Speaking of, probably it's not the bladder, it's probably that I'm not hydrating enough. That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is. I should drink something. Yeah, Guki is completely in his own head. I don't know what he's saying here. He's trying to understand what Ding wants, but that's not how you should play chess. You should understand what you want. Ding doesn't himself know what he wants, you know? That's the problem. Okay, Ding will fake some moves. Rook c1, a4, maybe queen b2. Maybe Ding will pretend that he wants. Queen b2, by the way, slightly, I don't like that knight e5 comes. Queen might stay here. I want to give this knight a square, but I think queen might stay here. But b5 is not really happening because of c5. A4, a5. So do you want a4, a5 or not? This is interesting. This is an interesting decision because if a4, a5, black goes a6, you've done something interesting. You will never have a minority attack anymore. But you did make sure b6, c5 never comes. So you did, in some sense, secure this knight beautifully. And you could also do knight e4, knight c5, take, and then take maybe even with a pawn, open the file, and really mostly cementing this knight. But I'm not sure it's enough. The knight here, first of all, it does not much. Secondly, it can always get traded by a knight f8, knight e6. a4, a5 is not a big deal at all. Just go rook e8. Also, after rook e8, a4, black can consider going a5, takes, and then knight c5 and taking here. You can do this, but there is something called a delayed minority attack. The delayed minority attack. Spanish player delayed. Which is kind of goes like that, something like that. You sort of, it doesn't really work, I think, in d4. But the idea is that, let's say, if you were somehow helping, that yes, you could also this way trade the pawns and still create this weakness on c6. Garcia delayed and Alexander minority have together developed the system, this concept. But honestly, we are talking about nothing. Just make a move. This is all nothing. Yeah, Guki is really getting into his own head here, I think. I think if you are a very concrete player like Gukesh, who is trying to come up with something concrete here, you can get quite concerned because there's nothing too exciting that you can do. And he doesn't make, as Magnus has pointed out, apparently Gukesh doesn't make intuitive moves, which are rook e8. He's trying to calculate something, but there's nothing to calculate. So he's burning himself out. Yeah, he found some concrete move, 95. 95 is fine. I just mentioned 95 was fine. He finally made a move. Good for him. Yeah, I'm coming to New York, yes, in December for the World Rap and Blitz. So he has finally made a move, 95. So the bar likes that he made a move, even though it's late. It's better late than never. It really works in chess like that. So 95, nothing wrong with that. As I mentioned, if you go f4, even going back, I think it's progress for black. I think f4 is such a bad move that you can even waste 2 moves to provoke it. Maybe, okay, so you don't really want knight d3. I can play rook c1. If knight d3, there is some tactic, which is unpleasant for black. But you keep that in reserve. And maybe also you keep this in reserve, but then also there is some tactic, which doesn't work like that. because queen gets traded. But maybe it works some other way. Doesn't actually work this way either because of knight c1, taking the queen, or rather winning an exchange. Exchange in chess means rook against knight or rook against bishop, which is super weird because it's not really an exchange, but it's called an exchange. It's very strange. I think something went wrong at some point. It doesn't make any sense, but that's how it is now. So we pretend it's normal. So you don't want to lose an exchange after bishop d3 takes. But bishop d3 here almost blunders f4, but also not because of bishop c4. Though then you get some strange position with the bishop on a6, which is probably good for black. Strange, bar is a bit stuck. It doesn't respond to analysis. A bit stuck. Ah, okay, wait, whoa, chill. Bar starts to react belated. Never mind. So no, this is all interesting. I don't think he wants necessarily to go bishop d3. I think he might keep it as in reserve as an option. I don't have favorite time control. I like all of them. Time controls, they're like children, guys. You have to like all of them equally. And if you somehow think you have a favorite, just keep it to yourself. Yeah, I don't think he needs bishop d3. He might just also do other moves first. Yeah, I'm not against knight e5. I'm also not for knight e5. Knight a4 controls the squares, which is nice. Maybe intense b5, but then knight e4 is a bit annoying. Then the queen can maybe jump somewhere. Though, okay, you have to deal with some things like that, so you have to be a little careful maybe. Like this first. Yeah, though, no, but now maybe queen h4. Yeah, g3. Also queen f6 is a little bit annoying now. Yeah, very annoying in fact, because you do have to do something with the f-pawn, which you maybe don't want. So maybe rook a to d1. But again, black knights are a little bit active. I don't know how big a deal that is. And mostly is that, yeah, the worst case scenario for black is just fine. Knight might reroute to d6. Black is okay. Knight a4 feels a little bit wrong. Rook fc1. a4 is possible, but somewhat committal. Yeah, rook fc1 most normal. Maybe he wants knight e4 after that. But you should be careful with black, not to allow white his only idea, which is to go for b5. I'm not sure about f3, but I just started wondering what about queen g5. Even g3 actually is okay, probably. Threatening f4. Yeah, queen can't quite get here. Let me check if the bar is agreeing. Yeah, the bar says black is somehow fine here. Yeah, probably black is somehow fine here. Or not, hard to say. Anyway, let's go back to the current position. Yeah, Ding is thinking. Yeah, not much happening. Yeah, Gukesh is trying to activate his pieces. Yeah, he's trying to play a bit more concrete. He doesn't want to just make a random intuitive move. I think on one hand he is a little bit worried that Ding has some smart plan. On the other hand, he just wants to play. It's his style. He just wants to play more concrete, more active. And with the knight potentially crossing the half of the board, there's just more tactical ideas available to black. I can recap. It's a little bit early. I could do a recap now. It's a little bit early. Was lie detector guy right all the time? Yes, he was making it all up. He was making everything up. But it was funny, so I credit him for you know, for what's due. Let me just Google my own name just here for fun. That's what I do just every day. Just go on Google my own name. Just see what Google says. Let me look it up online. Just that's Anish Giri. Just let's see. Just why not? It's the time of the day. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's just doing very good. Very nice. Let me just look myself up. Let me just read some comments now. See if I get hurt. Oof, this one really hurts inside. Oof. 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 Oh, that one really hurt inside. That comment. Oh my god. Oh, that hurt inside. Oh yes. You know, Ding is thinking now, my god, what's wrong with all these people? What are they thinking about? What are they thinking about? No, Ding should actually think about something here, I must say. After 95, actually after 95, Gukesh made sure there's something to think about. This is nice. That's his style. He's trying to make sure there's something to think about. Now, intuitively, rook fc1 still feels right. Of course, the rook leaves the king side, and black pieces are a little bit facing the king side, a little bit, but king is so safe for now. Really, nothing's gonna happen now. Yeah, this bishop d3 is only the... Bishop d3 is a real question to me now, because if you trade these bishops, it is... White is not worse, but it is making black's defenses even easier. Knight d5 doesn't work because of queen d5, queen b3, and f4 almost worked, but not quite. Not quite. I think black was good here. The bishop d3 actually is a thing. Yeah, maybe best move is something like queen d1, but yeah, then black is a very easy life. Okay, I understand. So bishop d3 is actually an idea. Yeah, knight d5 maybe a good move. Okay. Okay, maybe a good move. Yeah, no, actually, I'll forgive Guki for his toast because also Ding is now catching up with the clock, so the bar is just the bar thinks Guki is kind of okay. Yeah, it's around level now. I mean, round level now, yeah. It says around 0.05, I think. Yeah, knight a4. The most ambitious move is knight a4, but you are really inviting knight e4. I think then rook a to d1 is the most natural, keeping an eye on the f2 pawn. Queen b2, very possible, or you have to deal with knight c4 and think how that changes the position. Could be for better, could be for worse. This is very hard to tell, but I think as white you don't want to. You don't want to. Oh, you do want to. By default, you don't want to. Yeah, I don't know. You don't want to deal with it, I guess. Rook a d1. Of course, this rook belongs on the queen side, and on especially on these three files where minority attack is going to happen. So rook a d1 slightly misplaces it, but on the other hand, you can't have it all. And then I think a5 might hit you. a5 might hit you a bit, but you have d3 intermezzo, which is nice. And then you have b5 and there's no c5. So a5 is not the most accurate here. Yeah, actually, I'm okay with knight a4, I think. Maybe. I can try. I can start with a5. Worst case, I can just go a3, knight e4, rook d1. I don't think much has happened here. You can't quite exploit the a file. But I do feel a little bit here I do feel a bit uncomfortable about this. Queen e7. I do feel a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, maybe d3. I do feel I really want this rook to be here somehow on a file. Though it's okay. It's okay. The point is that if you go b5 now, then there is knight e4, and if rook d1 now, then there's c5. Knight e4 is very, very possible. Very, very possible. Of course, black can just also. I think though just queen d6 maybe good move. Queen good here, b5 c5. Maybe rook c1. If knight e4 we have queen b2. If knight g4. Okay, now you're really asking for f4. The knights are a little bit clumsy now. And worst case there was also g3. So knight g4 is not a big problem. Yeah, this is reasonable. Maybe rook c8 as well. Knight a4. I think knight a4 is reasonable. I think price for move is not too high yet. I think knight a4 is reasonable. Slightly, of course. Even such is a thing, by the way, now. This being an idea. Such is a thing. Knight c4 is a thing. If you do some rook d1. First of all, knight e4 is a thing here. Yes, or basically like that. Knight c4 was a thing. This is a thing. Knight c4 is actually quite unpleasant because knight d2 is coming. Just have to make sure you don't lose material with black after d3. Or you maybe lose material here. Wait, let's check with the bar. What does the bar say? Let's see. What does the bar say? Let's see. Let's see, it's calculating a bit. What does the bar say? d3, knight d2, queen c3, knight f1, d6, d. Oh, but this is just good for white. Yeah, this is just good for white. Okay, good, we checked with the bar. Okay, so this is good for white, so this doesn't work. So maybe start with knight. Okay, so this doesn't work. So maybe start with knight c4, rook d1, and now. Yeah, knight d4 doesn't work as we already saw. There's a5 first. Complicated. Also just make a move. You can just make a move also. Not this one, because some tactic is there. Yeah, not sure about all this knight c4. Knight a4 I think is okay. I think you can play knight a4. You can play knight a4. Ding dropping on the clock. Yeah. Yeah, I think his idea is bishop d3. I think his idea is bishop d3. Or he could just have placed the knight here, just for fun, and keep bishop d3 in reserve. Knight e5 is fine. No, black's very fine. Black is very fine. The clock is in Gukesh's favor now again because Ding is just too slow. Yeah, I think it's just equal. It's just equal. Yeah, I think it's just equal. I think I'm going to soon take a break actually. I'm going to soon take a break. It's just too much for me. Or in fact too little. a4. Okay, we have a move. Let's look at the move. Let's go for a move. a4. Okay, this is sensible move. I don't know if he wants to go a5. It's a big question. Now note that bishop d3 now not possible because the rook is not hanging here. Yeah, the rook is not hanging here. I mean, it is possible, but it's a small improvement of white's position. Possible like this actually. Yeah, kind of possible, but you don't want to. I think you just don't want to deal with this. I think you probably don't want to deal with this. What do you want if I make a neutral move first of all? Yeah, it's a big question. If you weaken, of course, these squares, but to be honest, it's not the end of the world at all. I'll defend this pawn at some point. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, a4 is a move, rook e8 is a move, queen e7 is a move, rook e8 is a move. Nothing's happening here, guys. Nothing's happening. I missed the super chat. Let's see. let's see. I missed the super chat. What are your favorite stand-up comedians and recommendations stand-up specials? Actually, let me tell you. I had phases. I had different phases. I had, of course, Trevor Noah is good. Of course, I watched Dave Chappelle as well. I watched. I had a phase once. I was watching Fluffy. Good stuff. Quite good actually. Of course, who is really good is Ricky Gervais. Like, he is really good. I had an interesting story. I was in the tournament and I was watching first I watched 2 Netflix specials. So first I watched a Netflix special of a quite a big comedian. I'm not gonna mention his name. He's quite big. He's very good. Maybe the most famous comedian from a country where he's from. It was good. I liked it. It was good. And then the next day I watched the Ricky Gervais special, and just the difference was so visible. Like, that was next level. It felt like you were watching a grandmaster play and then you watch top grandmaster play. Then I realized that Ricky Gervais is really good, of course. He's a really good comedian. I don't understand Bill Burr. I was recommended it. I don't quite get it. No, I find it too. I don't like it. Just the. Yeah, it's just I just on my style. I watched the Netflix special. Some woman comedian. I don't remember I think her name is Tomlinson, maybe. Yeah, something like that. She also became very, very popular at some point. Yeah, it was quite good. Just watch mainstream comedy. I once was at a stand-up comedy club, a small one in The Hague, and there were some amateurs. There was basically an open mic, and one guy, so 3 guys were like total amateurs. It was like their first stand-up ever. They were so bad. I would have been much better. They were like extremely bad, extremely unconfident, and their jokes were okay, but it needed proper delivery, and they misdelivered everything. It was terrible. And then came sort of a real sort of comedian, and he was actually good, but of course not TV level good, but he was actually good. Yeah, he was actually fine. From Australia, some comedian. It's a very small one. Nobody knows him. He's just in a local club. Did some. Yeah, it was good. Actually, it was actually funny, especially in contrast. Some mentioned Louis C.K. Yeah, of course. Norm Macdonald. Yeah, Norm Macdonald is, of course, especially people who have left a legacy, so to speak. They, of course, they get more love, I think. And people who are into comedy, they really appreciate his stand-up. I watched some of it. It's not all of it is my style, but I understand. Yeah, Jimmy Carr. I know also. Yeah, Jimmy Carr. Yeah, George Carlin, of course, is okay. That's some old stuff. Of course, also very good. Let me just look on the Netflix special. Netflix, just what are the who I'm forgetting. Wait, why do I still have to sign in? Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see stand-ups. Is it stand-ups or stands up? Stand up. Stands up? Stand-ups? Michael McIntyre. Yeah, I know him also. James Acaster, I also know. Oh, by the way, this Skunk on Earth is hilarious. This was very good. Tom Segura. Yeah, I think I saw some of that. Not like... yes, I also know this guy Shane Gillis. Yes, I've seen him too. But to be honest, most of them are good, no? The stand-up comedians. Very rarely that these famous guys are bad. Oh, Ellen. Ellen also did some... interesting. Mostly know Ellen, of course, from the Ellen Show. Oh, Matt Rife, of course, is the... Matt Rife, he could be my second, of course. He goes well in the list with Jordan and Max and Matraev next. Yeah, Theo Von I also know, of course. Yeah, no, it's the usual suspects. They're all good, I think. And I don't mean as a slap in the face, but I actually haven't watched Chris Rock's comedy. Somehow. Just never came across it. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I guess Ricky Gervais. Also interesting to see the evolution of course, the Dave Chappelle. Yeah, how he was so different when he was young, and now he's an old man. You know, old man, angrier and wiser than ever before. Quite good. Who's winning according to you? Nobody's winning. It's equal. Cookies, both are playing very, very, very cautiously and slow, but it's just gonna be a draw, guys. It's just gonna be a draw. Okay, guys, see you. It's gonna be a draw. I'll do a recap at some point.